Anyway, so first song I'm gonna go over is called "Sunsets" with Olivia Lunny, and it was released on Lowly about a little over a year. So I'm just gonna play through the track, and yeah, then we'll get into it. I just have to start it over here so these things can, whatever it's called. Oh, unsolo this too.
Like strangers in the dark. Had my days when I was hoping I'd do better. I'm so glad you talked me down. Only when the sun won't go down and the night screams so loud, I know that you always see.
Alright. So, I'll just stop it right there, and then we can get into everything. But, does anybody know how to, make this, minimize this whole Facebook thing? Because it's, not, for some reason, it's not letting me minimize this. So every time whatever. Anyway, let's get into this. I'll just check them on the chat if. So, all right. Let's start. Oh, also, essentially, any song I make, I'll I'll produce it, and then I'll mix it kind of to as much as I can, but then afterwards I'll bounce out all the stems. And then do a separate mixing session. So this actually isn't the fully mixed song. Also, I don't want this reference in here. Let's cut that. All right, so let's start with the drums, because we're just gonna go from the top down. So the drums start here. We just got a little bit of. Here's the first beat. And that's the verse drums. Let me just see if anyone has any questions. How many tracks are in this? Kind of a lot. It looks like we got up about 108. But anyway, drums. I do a mix of MIDI and audio. I froze everything just because I wanted to make sure this loaded all right. But we got just a bunch of layers of this clap loop with a little bit of Valhalla vintage verb. I use that reverb all the time. And then got this rim here, called it Millennium Rim because I hear he always uses this sample. Sounds like, but sounds like this. Pretty basic. What's this? This is just some MIDI of the kick. And it has this plugin called Oxford Inflator, which is kind of like, I don't really know exactly what it is. It's not like a compressor. It's not a saturator. It's just like a little bit of a mix of all of that, and it kind of just put up a little bit up, and it kind of just like does exactly what it's said it's going to do. It inflates the sound. And then I think I have some. Oh yeah, this is just like some hi hats here. Pretty basic shakers. And I actually think I used that from another song. And that's why it's like just like a loop. But let's see. And we get to the drop drums. So let's go over to the drop drums here. I'll start a little bit from like the build. Oh, that's all that. Pretty basic build. And here's a drop. One thing that's cool about this one is there's like this like layer of this like stomp kick that only like it doesn't like play on every single kick. It kind of just plays on like the first one. I think this is from like a Cashmere, one of the Cashmere packs. Let's see. Yeah, and I just like cut the attack of it because we already have the attack in these other kicks here. It's just like a one of Medicine's kicks and layered with a top kick, and the kicks together sound like this. So it doesn't happen every time. And then I also just reverse that stomp kick here. More Cashmere stuff. Cashmere's packs are like the absolute best in the entire game. But yeah, so let me just make sure everything's going smoothly over here. Good. All right. What's your rule of thumb when it comes to layering? To you, what is too much, too little? Actually, that's a pretty good question because that's like one of the things I, to this day, struggle with because it's kind of hard to tell like when you're layering too much versus when you have the right amount. Generally, like if I'm like building a bunch of layers and I mute something within the layers and you don't notice it being you don't notice it disappear, then you most likely you don't really need it there because that's just taking up headroom, frequency stuff. But speaking of layers, we can start to address that real quick. Let's see how I am on time. That is all right. Cool. So this group is just the harmonies. So it's like most of the chords of the song. We go from the beginning here. This is such an old project that I have to like kind of get used to it myself. But let's see. Just some atmospheric stuff here. and that's like the intro stuff. Let's see what else we got. So this is like where the drop happens. Oh, also real quick. When I made this song, I was like super inspired by um, a little bit of like M83, and then a little bit of like Bitbird, San Holo stuff. So like when you hear the layers, you'll kind of hear that kind of San Holo sound. So this is the stack for the drop. All right, so let's kind of go through that, um, and then I'll also talk about some of the um, I'll talk about some of the routing stuff, but because I used to do these weird sidechain routing things that I don't really do anymore. But anyway, let's see. So the whole Bitbird team, they kind of do these like they make like they take like kind of like crappy sounds, like shitty, like cheap sounds, and they use them and they sound like really good. So like I kind of tried to emulate that with like some of these layers, and so this first one is um, just an omnisphere layer. It's like an organ, sounds like, and it's kind of doing some pitch stuff as well. So let's see. And it has just like I think I added a lot of distortion within like Serum FX. Yeah, so I have like a lot of tube distortion, and I put some a little bit of compression, some EQ, and then I added another saturator, kind of just to give that gritty sound. I think like without it, it'll sound kind of like. Let's see how it sounds without it. It's not that much different, but if I turn off all of it, all this stuff here, kind of dull sounding. It's just like a cheap sounding organ. But then with all this stuff, you get that kind of like full sound. And then this is layered with a string. I also purposely chose like a string that was like vintage, kind of like mono, crappy sounding. Let me just real quick over here. Everyone here, okay. Okay. Pretty basic stuff there. Let's see. I got some low cut, and then a little bit of removing some mids that was kind of irritating. So like, hear that? Like that's nasty. You don't need that. Also, one thing, as far as mixing goes, always do reductive EQ before. It's just my experience before additive EQ, because there's a lot of sound. There's a lot of frequencies that you're not gonna want, and when you start adding stuff, like before you do all this compression and saturation, it's gonna start to like sound like just too harsh and boomy and muddy. So I always like find frequencies I don't want, and then I'll I'll compress and then put like some saturators and stuff on, and then I'll add frequencies later. But like I like to find annoying frequencies first, and then I might even do more reductive EQ later. And then I just have this like stereo, this S1 imager to bring out some of the stereo information. Right. What's this? I'll talk about that in a second. I just want to do the chords right now. This one is this is like a preset pad that I like edited, and originally it was like a pad, but you know, you just bring out the cutoff, and I did similar stuff with the saturation. So here's what it sounds like. All right. Then I have just some noise because it was lacking some high end. Then I got pretty basic right there. What is this? I don't remember. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is from Cashier's Pack. It's just like a kind of like a drone, a vocal drone, and it just adds a nice effect with the chords. Let's see. Solo that. And yeah. I hardly even notice it. I probably brought it out more when I mixed it, but with this project, it's kind of buried in there. Could I also ask on how you figure out the groove of chords during drops? The groove of chords, like when there's like the rhythm the chords play, like the pauses and the syncopation. I don't know. Basically, I just kind of like when I'm like I'll like play the song and then I'll listen to the beat and then I'll just imagine chords that kind of like go between the stuff. But it's kind of just like just listening, using your ear, really. When you start a track, what's your process, or where do you begin? Do you finish a track right away? Begin the drums, blah blah blah. Vocalize. So yeah, it's different every time. I some projects I finish very quickly. Some tracks take a long time. I like to start with vocals. If I have like a singer that I'm working with, I'll like have their vocal in, and I'll build a track around that. And I usually start with the chords always, because the chords just kind of give the most inspiration, you can say. All right. Let us keep going. So this is just like the harmony stuff. So here is, oh yeah. And then I also I don't do this a lot, but I played the guitar over some of the verses and stuff, but I liked how it sounded in the drop as well. So it's like there's the guitar. And I chopped it a little bit. And I added these reverse things. Oh no, that's not reverse. That's like the strum. I played some strums, and I brought that in the drop as well. And anyway, what Kevin was saying before, I don't know, when you listen to that, you just kind of, with the strums, you kind of just bob your head, and then I put some of those other strums between it and kind of grooved a little bit. As long as you can dance to it, you're going the right way. All right, so that's I call it the harmony. So let's bring in the bass now. Since a lot of people are interested in stacks, I'll keep the harmonies playing here, and I'll bring in the bass. So here is the harmonies with the bass in the drop. All right, so bass. Few layers. First one is just like an 808 in Serum with like a lot of processing to make it like beefier. So let's start with the 808. Oh, and because of these weird routing things, I have to solo this as well. I'll talk about that in a second. Um, yeah, so it just kind of like it's like from seven skies. He has this 808 pack. It's really awesome. It has all these 808s, and then it also comes with, if you're using Ableton, like it has these effect racks that kind of just fatten up your 808s. Then it is some additional stuff with like OTT. I even used a little bit of Corpus on it for all the Ableton people here, which kind of gives this like metallic feel, but you mix it in so slightly that you don't even notice it. So that's layered with what is this one? Oh, this is like a Reese bass, which you probably heard a million times. But like I cut the low end, so it's more of like a mid bass, you can say, because you already have that first 808 taking up the low end. And the last bass is kind of similar. When I did a collab with Last Heroes, we used this bass that's kind of like similar to the first one, but just fills it out a bit more. And I think I edited it a bit, but let's see what it is. We got, oh yeah, just pretty, basic patch here. It's really not, this one wasn't really meant for to be heard. It was more just to fill frequencies out, because I think it was like lacking a little bit of like low end, so I added this to just kind of fill that out. And it's mainly just like a saw wave with tube distortion, so it has that like amp sound almost, and then a little bit of overdrive. Also cut 200 hertz, so it was probably just to fill out the mid range. But yeah, so with the harmonies and the bass. All right, next section. Let me just check the chat real quick. That wide reach is so key that most producers leave out. Yeah, exactly. So also, one of the things that is important is when I'm making a track, I'll always have span on, and I'll kind of look at where the frequencies are kind of like lacking, and it kind of helps you out, because before when you're mixing a track, you don't want to like have to like go back and like choose a different sound. So I like to just do it during the.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Production process. And it kind of just looks like it's like everything's filled out. There's not like too much of sub. There's not like a dip in like the the low mids where like laptop speakers are gonna be not the like laptops aren't gonna hear the sub, so you want to kind of fill out all that. So like you know, if you listen to it multiple speakers, it sounds good. What is this? We got more just kind of instruments and stuff, and I used actually this project. I made 3 different versions. So like some of these stems are from the older project because like I didn't like how the project sounded, so I just made a new one, and I just like took some of the stems from the old one. But let's see what these are. Some of these are like a surprise to me because it's been so long. All right. Cool. Yeah. So just like a lot of like one shots and ambient kind of things, kind of fill it out a bit. So let's see how it sounds with the harmonies there. So yeah, that's just like kind of harmony stuff. But I'll get more into this stuff because a lot of it is played more in the verses and all that. This group is just an F like special effect, nothing crazy there. Pretty basic stuff. Got some ambience here at the beginning. You know, probably like an impact, yeah, downlifter, and just Cashmere stuff. Really, nothing too extreme there. What is this? A sub drop here? Yeah, sub drop. All Cashmere. He's the best. You really don't need a lot of sample packs if you have Cashmere stuff. All right, so this is like where most of the synths are. You know, we'll get to that with the intros and stuff, but like for the drop, this is where like the leads are. It's like where the vocal chops are, and then I layer some stuff with the vocal chops, which I'll show, but here's just how that sounds. All right. Just check this real quick. Okay. So let me play that before I like get into it. Let me play that with like the other layers. Here's it with the harmonies, and I'll add the bass in a second, and I'll put this in. And then with the bass. Oh, whoops, hold on. All right, so the vocal chops, unfortunately, they were from the other project, and the vocal chops originally weren't like the melody it's now. So I actually was lazy, and I just took the original vocal chops I made and made more vocal chops with them. So like, here's like the first layer is like. And I also have this like little altar boy thing that's kind of like automated, which like just takes down the format of it to make it more like lower sounding. And here's it with like out that. I just kind of wanted to try just changing the format. And then I layered it with just like a higher version of that. Just to like see, I'm curious what these sounded like before I chopped them. Let's see what happens if I bring this here. Yeah, I don't know. They were kind of like all over the place before, so I just chopped them even more. All right, and then I layered that with some more stuff, which you can hardly even hear, but they kind of just fill it out a little bit. This massive patch, which is like super San Holo sounding. I think this is like when I watched like one of his tutorials, and I just remade it. But what did I use to process the vocal chops? It's just like besides this stuff, it's just like saturation, EQ, compression, reverb. That's pretty much it. Sometimes I go even deeper and do like some other stuff with distortion and EQ, but yeah, it's really nothing too crazy. It's just like, it's more of the layering that makes it sound good. So we have this massive patch layered with the chops. And this patch is very basic. You can actually watch San Holo make it in one of his tutorials. But if you want to see it here, I can just show it here. It's like a basic, just literally just the square saw, and then what's making that little ringy sound is where you take like the noise and just kind of have the noise modulate first oscillator. So like you can, I only did a little bit, but if I like really cranked it, you'll be able to hear like what it's doing. Wait, let me just solo it. Yeah. Super basic. Added some OTT. If you really want to make this patch, you can just message me and I'll send the San Holo video. All right, and then what else do I have here? This is just like a Serum kind of like electric piano that kind of just adds a nice layer. And if it was like on its own, that I kind of don't like that at all. It sounds kind of like corny. But when you layer with the vocal chops, it's mainly just used to fill it out. How did I come up with the vocal chop melody? I don't know. All my melodies are made from when I have chords laid down. I just kind of like play around on the piano until I get a melody. So I like play it on the piano and then match it with vocal chops. So yeah, it's all just like listening and kind of using chords as the inspiration to kind of get a melody chosen. Vocals I'll get into. Let's see. Vocals. What's this? It's a reverse guitar. Ukulele that comes in later. So anyway, that's pretty much for the drop. That's essentially it. So all layered together in the drop. Let's just kind of solo everything besides the drums. All right. And then with the drums, I'll just take everything out, unsolo it. I think what's cool about this one is that you remember like back in like the big room days, before when the drop would happen, you would hear that first hit was like just bass, and then it would like delay and then kick in. So it's kind of like that with this. So if you hear, it's kind of like before everything hits, you just hear like this like bass, and then everything comes in after. So let's see. If you take a listen, you'll see what I'm talking about. So it's like based on a guitar shot. So it's a little one shot, and then everything comes in. Do your chords play all the same notes, and the lead layers, do they even harmonize or play the same notes? Let me it varies, honestly. But like with this one, I think the chords were all playing the same notes. Sometimes I'll like add inversions. But yeah, they were just like, let's see. Let's solo this, oh, just this. Yeah, it looks like they're the same. It's just one's an octave higher. So this one's just an octave higher. And then, yeah, they're and the leads are also the same notes as in the chords. All right, so I guess I will now go into like the verse stuff because I really like a lot of the pads and all that, the ambient stuff you hear. Oh, real quick, before I get into that, I used to do this thing with LFO Tool when I wanted to sidechain with LFO Tool, but like I didn't want it to be just like floor to the floor, and so I did these, like, you do this routing thing. I really wouldn't at this point. Like I do more like just sends only now, but like I used to do this where you would wherever you wanted to side chain something, you would have in the group, you would have the MIDI play and then like send that, and then have LFO Tool and then have envelope here. So like basically anytime this MIDI hits, it'll sidechain, it'll like trigger LFO Tool. And then you just kind of send the you send this MIDI to the group, and then it'll like recognize the LFO tool is there, so you just select the LFO tool. But like the annoying thing about this is that if you like solo this, sometimes it doesn't recognize, and you'll have to like solo the sidechain as well. So I don't do this anymore, but it also just takes up a lot of CPU. Anyway, all right, so let me just see if there's any other questions. I'm surprised at how many layers you can fit into one section. How do you go about using so many layers without the mix becoming crowded, or at least sounding crowded? Yeah, that's like one of the toughest things with this kind of music, because sometimes, yeah, it sounds overcrowded, but this is actually not that much. Like if I'm doing a song with saw stacks, I'll have like 10 different layers of saw stacks and 4 different basses and all this like unnecessary stuff. But actually this one's not actually that much. It's just a matter of, you know, like choosing kind of what's your fundamental sound. Like I guess in this, the big saw stack you hear is this one. And then, you know, I guess like the fundamental, since this is like the main one, I did a lot of like boosting. So I saw it shined a lot here. You know, that's where like that body is, and then I gave it a little high end, little noise. And then in this one, if I were to mix this, I would kind of like take out the frequency that I added in that previous one, so it was like around like 4 or something. Kind of just reduce it down. So now when they play together, you're not gonna have that masking of frequencies. It's all about like choosing which sounds are your important ones, which ones are supporting, and then kind of just like panning, stereo, manipulation. But yeah, sometimes they do sound too much, and you just kind of have to delete, a layer or two. All right. So let's go to more of the verses and all that. Let's settle this. Whoops. Let's see, like this is what I was talking about with the LFO tool. It has to like trigger for it to like produce sound. So let me just start it from here. All right. So really subtle stuff. We have this layer here, which is just like this, like another kind of bitbirdy, san holo kind of sound. It's in massive and sound like this. Oh, see, look, I had to. This is so annoying. See what I'm talking about with the sidechain? Yeah, just don't do this. It's not worth it. And see, it's not even playing. Hold on. Yeah, this is weird. There we go. So this one here, very bitbirdy and kind of analog sounding. Yeah. So it's just like what gives it the kind of analog feel is the overdrive. Without it, it just sounds like basic, massive kind of nothing. Which I also did a little bit of distortion in here. But here's it without any noise or anything. Then you add the noise, and you add the distortion, and you add this. Just kind of sounds more full. And you'll hear it better with when the filter is all the way up. Where is that? Oh yeah, let me just turn this off real quick. So that's the original patch. Okay. Then I brought in another pad that's kind of plays very quietly, where you don't even really hear it. It's like filtering up. Hold on. Which I believe is just a Nexus patch. Yeah. And then I got another actually, yeah, this is just muted actually. Basic choir from Omnisphere. All right. Then there's another Nexus thing. I don't think that's the only synth. I think there's also synths up here. Not much. Yeah, it's mainly just those. So those are just like the pads and stuff that's behind for vocals. One other layer that is in this one, which is in the drop that I didn't really talk about, is I have to find where it is, but it's like this like diva arp. Oh, here it is. So this is like an ARP from Diva. This synth takes up so much CPU, so I'm not even gonna unfreeze it. But it's just like playing this like response to the main chords when she's like singing the sun part. Oh, see, like I have to hold on. And then later I layered it with another one. As you can see, this is very San Holo-y. Like, I don't really make stuff like this anymore, but it was fun when I did. Maybe I'll do it again. So, and then in the intro, you got these like ambient things. So let me play that with the bass, and then the instruments, and then the chords. Alright. So this is just those like ambient things. This is where the bass comes in, but of course it's not triggering because of the sidechain. Just a pretty basic like respace that you can use, and it's really simple. You just like probably heard it in a million songs. You just take like the saw wave, and then maybe layer it with like a subby saw, and then just add a filter. Like this is without the filter. And then you just add the filter. Oh, you add this layer. Actually, no, this layer was turned off. So it's literally just a basic saw wave with a filter. And then a little distortion. Alright. These are just basic drones and stuff. This is like from the original song here. The first version that I just rendered out. Alright, and before I get into the vocals, there's one part of the breakdown that's really cool that I wanted to talk about as far as groove and stuff goes. So. Trying to find where it is. Oh yeah, it's right here. This is the part I'm talking about. So, you probably don't even notice, but from the original song, there's this layer here, and it's just super, like, funky and, like, jazzy sounding. Check it out. This is, like, a bunch of layers together from another project, but Yeah, I guess I didn't use it that much in this project, but in the second build, I brought in a real bass, just like a live bass played on bass guitar. And that comes in only in like the second half of the first drop and then during the build up. So with the vocals.
Only when the sun won't go down and the night screams so loud, I know that you always see it through. You know that I'm always there for you. Only when the sun.
And then this right here is a ukulele that comes in second half of the song that you probably don't even notice, but it's here. And actually, this was played by my girlfriend. So get yourself a girlfriend that can play the ukulele, because it is awesome. Yes, the guitar is something I recorded in, just like this ukulele I'm about to play. Yeah, so let's get into the vocals, which some are from the old song, some are from the new song. So I will get into, the processing, which these ones are from the old song, so they have the old processing, but solo this one.
Sun won't go down and the night screams so loud, I know that you always see it through. You know that I'm always there for you. Only when the sun won't down, and the night won't down, I know that you.
All right, so unfreeze this. I would also recommend when you're processing vocals not to do it in the project that you're working with. It's better to process them in another project, because all these plugins are just going to take up so much CPU and power. But it looks like I did that with this one like an idiot. So first one, just auto tune it to the key, which is E minor. Pretty basic. This little altar boy here is like if you listen, there's like parts that are the format's lowered, like when she says "you don't have to," I think.
Always see it through. You know that I'm always there for you.
I don't know. I thought that was just kind of a cool effect. I had a phaser that I turned off. This plugin here it emulates a preamp, and it just kind of like makes if you're like recorded it on a mic that's kind of crappy sounding, it'll make it feel bigger essentially. And you can use this on a lot of other plugins, a lot of other sounds like bass, synths, drums. That's going. And then I had tiny bit of overdrive for just some saturation.
Sun won't go down.
Turn it back on.
Sun won't go down.
Kind of just makes it pop out a bit more. But then, since the saturator, this overdrive adds harmonics, I EQ'd and took them back out from the low end to make sure there's nothing really, coming through. Next, I had just Nectar, which is the old one, the old Nectar, with just some basic, more saturation, compression, which is, this sounds like it's pretty heavily compressed.
Sun won't go down, and the night screams so loud.
It's actually not compressed that much. Then EQ, I just kind of brought out the high end. De-esser,
scream so loud.
to take out those S's and the sibilant things, FX. A little bit more distortion. That's it, just like this much, tiny bit.
Sun won't go down, and the night screams so loud. I know that you always see it through. You know that I'm always there for you.
Then I got some reverb and delay, which wouldn't. You can put the reverb after. You can put reverb in the channel, but now I usually in Ableton I'll use. I'll make a effect rack, and I'll have like one on 100% wet, and then one on 100% dry, and just kind of mix them in. That way you can actually like EQ the reverb by itself and put saturation, stereo image, and whatever on the reverb itself. But if you're not using Ableton, this is basically the same thing as a send, where you're using a send for reverb, which looks like I also did in Ableton here. Yeah, cool. So I was all over the place, as you can see. But the reverb and delay just kind of give it that ambient feel.
Only when the sun won't go down, and the night screams so loud. I know that you always see it through. You know that I'm always there for you.
And it looks like I'm layering it with another take for like a double.
Only when the sun,
Oh, cool, and I also lowered the pitch for this one.
only when the sun won't go down, and the night screams so loud. I know that you always see it through. You know that I'm always there for you.
So together.
Only when the sun won't go down, and the night screams so loud. I know that you always see it through. You know that I'm always there for you. Only when the
And then I had this little, basically the same processing, except the only difference is I had towards the drop, I had it kind of wash out, so like reverb increase, and then it was like a high pass that automated up, and just sounds like, it's like kind of like vocal chops before the actual vocal chops, and it's kind of just to have that build section. And then with the vocal chops, Alright, let me try and get to some questions here. Alright, let's see. Could you also maybe take a second on that ARP? Sure, yeah. The ARP. Also, let me see how I am on time, because I still have to bring up that other project, which I hope will work, because Armada blocked it before, so. The ARP, yeah, I'll just try and, unsolo this ARP. I mean, unfreeze it. I'm sure it'll be alright. So Diva is a synth that is really good for trying to emulate analog, like 80s, or analog synths. And this was actually like one of this is like a synth that was used in Stranger Things, and I just kind of recreated it in Diva. But yeah, this plugin is awesome for just like getting those like Stranger Things 80s vibes. But if I play it here, so if I like increase the cutoff, sounds like this. Just sounds like 80s. I don't know, just super analog and a little bit of resonance, but you just bring it down like this, and it kind of just sounds really clean. And I just took out the low end, added a little bit of high end, some OTT. That's about it for that one. If I take out the OTT, it'll sound pretty dull. I'll take out the EQ too. So yeah, this just removes kind of that mud and stuff. Actually, the OT doesn't do that much, I think about it. OTT just brings out some of the high end. And then I layered it with another ARP, which is playing slightly different notes. Is it? No, it's not different. But that's just like an Omnisphere patch. Alright, yeah, this is like another emulation from a hardware synth in Omnisphere. Yeah, super 80s sounding. And then, looks like there's some more layering going on. I don't even know what this is. Let's see. Cool, so that looks like it's second half of the drop, just some more notes that play. Whoa. Yeah, I didn't even know this was here, so that's another example of when you are layering and you don't notice something, there's really no reason for it to be there, because I didn't hear it, so there's like no difference if this was off. So yeah, like in the mix I might have just took that out completely. So that's an example right there as, something that's just unnecessary. Just to like show this ukulele in the build, kind of just adds this nice effect of kind of like a climax to the song, the second half. And it comes in. So I actually brought the ukulele in the drop as well to the same place that Diva ARP plays. So just variation. All right, let's see. Why did you make your 808 hit like that? So I kind of explained that earlier, but yeah, it's just like a bunch of saturation EQ, a little bit of Corpus for Ableton users. Um, don't know why you wouldn't use anything else, but anyway. No, I actually came from using Logic, but then I switched to Ableton, and it was the best decision I ever made. What is this? It's just a reverse guitar. Yeah, this just kind of adds a nice little ambience to the beginning. But yeah, that's essentially the song. Anything I missed here? See if there's more questions. I think I mentioned. Oh yeah. 7 skies, 8 or boom. I think it's called. So yeah, it's definitely, if you want to make good 808s, get that pack, because not only are you not using a sample where you have to worry about stretching audio and all that stuff, you're literally making it in Serum, or you're using it in Serum, so you can like do so much with it. So if you're making 808s, I would recommend that. But if you're doing just like basic sub bass, sub layers, you don't really need it, because 808s take up a lot of headroom because they're just so big and huge. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to open up the other project now. This is the one that got blocked because of Armada, and I'm going to not going to save this. I have to, unfortunately, I have to pitch the entire track down, and I hope that works, because we were doing a test, and somehow Armada, I guess, put like a block on it, even though it's my song. I don't know. So Facebook said that you have to like block the video in Canada or something because of copyright or something. Yeah, just take a little bit to load. Any just general questions while this is loading? How'd you compose your ARP melodies using an arpeggio or writing MIDI? Oh yeah, the ARP in that other one was just MIDI, so it was played just in the MIDI piano roll. Sometimes you could do the same thing with an ARP, but I think I wanted to vary specifically certain notes, where an arpeggiator, you can only do that to an extent. Yeah, still loading. How long do you spend on attractively? It takes like, sometimes it depends. If I have a deadline, I can get a track. I try to get it done within like 2 weeks or even less, because like you literally have to. Like I'm just doing a remix right now where I was told about it less than 2 weeks ago, and they told me I only have till the 19th to literally have the entire song done and the mix mastered and everything. So that kind of sucks, but yeah.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
So, but then sometimes I'll like take over a year. It really depends. Which I would only do like a year if like it's like a collab with somebody else, and like I'm waiting on them, and or like a singer that I'm waiting on them. Anyway, so this is the song So Far Gone on Armada, and I pitched it down for the sake of the tutorial. I pitched it up 2 semitones, pitched it down 2 semitones. but you can. I'm actually gonna say like if you want to hear the whole track, just listen to it because I don't want to risk me playing it and then it ends the stream. So I'm actually just going to start with each section, and if you want to hear the whole song, um, just take a listen to it because that would really suck if the stream just ends right now without our control. So, as unique sounding. Um, what, what's one piece of advice you would give a producer on how to go about making your pads unique sounding? Um, so for one, on on YouTube, I see like if you're making super saws and stuff like that, every tutorial I see is open up Serum and detune everything, detune 16 voices, and then have another voice of like not as detuned, and then a sub, and everything's in Serum. But actually, in my drops with my saw stacks, I don't use one instance of Serum. It's all silent and massive. Um, and in this one plugin called Synth Master, and this project I'm about to show, it's not. I don't use Synth Master, but Silent, just the algorithm for saw stacks, it just sounds better. Even if you do the exact same things as you're doing in Serum, um, they just sound better. I don't know what it is. It's just like the mathematics of the synth, I guess. But I know Serum is like it's like one of my favorite synths. But for those big saws in the drops, I don't really ever use it. I probably use like one instance of Serum. Anyway, so far gone. So starts out with just these pianos, which is just like pretty basic piano. Yeah, so contact the piano with a grandeur. If you have complete, you have that piano, and then, but if not, um, then you have it. But you can just get it, if not from Native Instruments. Real quick, what's what was the hardest thing you went through in your career so far? Have you, how did you get through it? Um, I would say the hardest thing is to find my kind of sound. Just over the years, a lot of experimentation of different genres until I was comfortable with something I really enjoyed making, and other people enjoyed. Um, but like, it takes time to kind of find your sound. But anyway, so let me solo some of this stuff. So for the drop, these are these pads. Um, this project's a little bit all over the place, but let's solo this. So here's like some of the pads, the saws. It looks like it has like this mid-bass layer that's in it, but I'm just gonna mute that real quick so you just hear the saws by themselves. And so the first layer is just like this silent layer, which is like a preset that I manipulated, but it's pretty. You can, if you have silent, you can literally just make this out of the same deal as Serum, where you just take two saws and layer one apart from each other, detune them, kind of do the similar thing with the part A and the part B, but just one layer is a sine wave, um, and cut off all the way up. A little bit of release just to make it like more pad sounding. So it sounds like this. Some OTT, and then to kind of fill out the low mids, this is just like a massive patch. Sounds like this. This is like to make it more crunchy, like down on the low mid section. And these are playing slightly variations of the first layer. Is it actually? I'm not sure. Yeah, they're a little different. So one's playing like this. The other player's like this. And then I had a lead that I use a lot. It's like an omnisphere patch and layered with I believe, a Nexus patch. But it sounds like this. And then there's like, let's see what else. Did I even use this? Oh, this is from my collab with Last Heroes. It's just like one of those like 7-line sounding leads. So it's that's like playing behind the saw stacks. That's not all of the saws. There's some here that I had to keep a secret, unfortunately, but they sound like this. There's just a lot of different layers. But yeah, they're like it's like you just essentially layer kind of like ambient drones with the saws, and you'll get more of a ambient sound. So if like say you're playing in a major key, take like a drone and have it play the sixth note, the relative minor, and it kind of just, since that's the relative minor, every chord that drone kind of works with essentially, so it just adds this nice like layer, I guess. See if there's any questions. Time. Okay, and so there's like some little in the drop between the synths. There's like these little peripheral elements that come in. So that like this is just like a just kind of like a random sine shot from like a sample, and I just took one part of it, layered with like a serum, and then when you play it with the other stuff, quick. Let me just mute these chops before I get into those. I hope we're still good. We're still streaming, right? We didn't get taken down. We didn't get taken down. Um, what do you put on the bus for your chords? Oh, let me look, because it's usually different every time. Um, oh, cool. So this is just for it to like when it does like filtering things. I'll have like a low, like a like high pass filter and a low pass filter, and different like if I'm doing like pan like LFO stuff, I'll put on like auto pan, and then I think fab filter just to like take out the low end because this isn't really the bass. Um, but I'm really not doing any group processing. It's more of just like movement stuff within the track. So oh, I think it comes in over here. Yeah, so it's really only used for that like part where it filters up for the second drop. Um, and then I have this is like the bass. So it's just like a mix between like mid basses and sub bass. Do, 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 do. Um, oh, what's my master generally? So generally, I don't think like I said, I usually mix the track and in a separate session and master it in a separate session, but it'll just be um, like I'll start out with fab filter just to take out like 20 like below 20 hertz, and then I will have um, I'll start out with just the sometimes I'll start out with like Ableton's glue compressor just to kind of catch the initial peaks, and then I'll have like a plugin called Shadow Hills Mastering Compressor, which is like a great compressor for mastering. Um, so that's like the compression section, and then I will usually put on just like a stereo imager, kind of just like to like if it needs like a little more stereo in the top end versus and then like mono towards the bottom. Then a limiter, and then sometimes I'll have like a second limiter just to like get a little extra volume. But I'll always put the limiter first, not first in the chain, but like I'll apply it first. I'll turn it up because that has like the most. It'll do the most to your project. So you have that first, and then kind of like put all the other stuff before the limiter and go that way. But it kind of varies every time, honestly. Um, all right, how do you sidechain your synths? That's kind of like I don't really use this technique anymore, but it's the kind of the same one as my last one where like each group you have like the MIDI here. This is like I guess you can say the ghost kick or a kick snare, whatever. So you'll like you'll have this play the same thing as what the drums are playing, like the kick and the snare. So you'll on each group you'll have this is kind of confusing, but you'll have like the MIDI here, and then you'll have LFO tool on the group, and then you'll send this channel to the LFO tool, and it'll like sidechain from that MIDI. But I don't do that anymore, like I said earlier. How are we on time? All right, I got about 4 minutes, looks like. Can you possibly go a little more in depth about the high pass, low pass filter and how you use it during drops? Yeah. So this is like all my synths right here in the group. Oh, and let me bring back the vocal chops. And so it's all on this group here, or bus, whatever you want to call it. And whenever you want to have it filter, like high pass, low pass, whatever, you just kind of go to the section that's being automated. Like right here, I have at the very end of the drop, I have this this low pass where we're at the end of the drop. Sounds like this. Sorry, high pass. I was just taking out the low end, and then similar thing over here for when the drop hits. Okay. So yeah, that's how you do that part. But I hear that your drums are a little offbeat. Do you normally offset your drums to make them sound organic? Yeah, I don't. I like to have them not 100% quantized because they just sound a little robotic that way. But like so. Let's see what happened. Let's see. Hear the drums here. This ones are actually pretty syncopated. Yeah, there's really nothing that's like too offbeat. This is like just audio essentially, except for like this here, which is just a hi-hat, which is like a medicine hi-hat from Splice. Check if there's more questions. How did I come up with the vocal top melody in this one? Yeah, similar deal. I just kind of listened to the chords. So like I'll like play like a section like this, and it'll just kind of inspire me to think of a melody. So I'll like hear that and I'll just mess around with the piano. And then when you hear like all these different things layered, they just kind of inspire you. That's when the drop comes. Do you put them in Melodyne or anything? No, I actually don't. I don't own Melodyne. I want to get it though. Seems pretty cool. But no, I just use like the basic plugins in Ableton, really. And then if you want to do like format shifting, I'll do like Little Altar Boy. Nectar has some format shifting stuff. Auto Tune has some format shifting stuff. So, but no, I want to get Melodyne. So yeah, that's again, if you want to hear this song, just I guess now that the stream's done, I can play it. See if we lose anything. But yeah, that's pretty much concludes this lecture. I'll play a section of the drop, and it has this like sound shifter thing that's like pitching it down so it doesn't get taken down. But I'll play a section of the drop. Alright, let's hope it doesn't get taken down because that's what happened last time. Alright, guys, well, I'm going to end it there. Hope you learned some stuff. If there's any other questions, just kind of message me and I will get back to them there. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.